Okay. You know, one of our favorite categories, and it's Zelda Penzels. And it just so happens that I'm with Todd and Nona. And these are wonderful people with a wonderful film about animal rights and how we love that. And those of us who were on the pet philanthropy circle out here in the Hamptons and our care about pets and our relationship to animals that we're recognizing needs to go over a whole overhaul, because our relationship to animals is much more integral and important to our own evolution than we even consider. And the fact is, we're not considering that relationship enough. But here we have a wonderful filmmaker who's saying, let's take a look at that relationship between us and our human spiritual evolution and our relationship to animals, and who we are and who we might be leaving behind, and we'll regret leaving them behind later. So Todd, so you hear, I love the category, I love the message, period, and so I bet you I'm going to let the filmmaker tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a filmmaker. I have been working in late night television in the field department, so you might have seen my work at Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. I worked with Jordan Klepper, the guy at The Daily Show. So, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. I just won an Emmy for the New York Times piece that I directed. So, and now I'm working about the most important important thing to me. I don't know. Cats. I love cats. So
a fellow Emmy Award winner. So this is great. So, and cats. Look, I'm a dog person, but also I've had cats, and the relationship with cats, once you let them hang around for long enough and you get their personalities, you're like, oh no, this is a whole other species that has a personality and an adaptability like pretty much no other animal. So I love them. And you're doing this thing about cats. Tell everybody the premise, because I think it's really noteworthy and valuable for all of us, especially if you're on that path to human evolution and part of this change that we're going through now. You want to know about this. So tell them about the message in your film.
Well, we start out by looking at why in America there are these cats that we idolize. You know, they're Instagram, they're influencer cats, they're making 7 figures a year. And then we have cats that are abandoned in the streets and nobody cares for them, and they're out there making their own. And we navigate through this existence, and we meet Jennifer Conrad, who is a doctor, a veterinarian, who's been fighting for the last 20 years to fight this thing that only exists in America, which is called declawing, which is the taking the last 2 digits of a cat's paws and brutally hurting them, all for your furniture.
And they're taking part of their actual paw away. It's not just the claw itself; it's actually part of the paw itself.
Yeah.
De-knuckling, as Jennifer Conrad likes to call it.
Yeah. So yeah, they just right there.
So we think we're doing something wonderful for our furniture, to save our furniture, but we're actually hurting these animals. But and does it go into it all about clipping the ends of them, the sharp ends? Is that bad?
Clipping the sharp ends, as long as you are aware of where the vein is, you're totally, that's a great solution for it. There's all kinds of different methods that are alternatives to this, including just a scratching post, you know. There's clipping, and there's also one of my favorite parts, and maybe this is one of your favorite parts to film, but we went to someone who does nail caps, which is a mani-pedi for cats. So they put on these gold nails, and the cat looks it is gorgeous. so
that's fun. So a new career title, someone that they're doing mani-pedis for cats. You and I share something. I did a series and it was called Cat Tales with Debbie Romano, and I'd called the mayor's office for animals, and I said, I want to do a story about someone. They gave me Debbie Romano, and I started a series, and I followed her, and I called them the Cat Colony Caretakers. This is supposed to be about you, but
I love it. I love hearing this.
So it's Cat Colony Caretakers, and she takes care of feral cat colonies. Middle of the winter, middle of a blizzard, she's out there, and she's underneath these things in the projects, and going
in New York City.
In New York City,
cool.
And I said, can give me somebody that I can interview, and so I got in the car with her and started following her around. And as soon as I got in the car, she started talking, telling me this great story. I was like, hold on, you'll love this, you'll love this. So I grabbed my camera, just stopped talking, I just held it to the windshield, right? And I said, okay, go. And while she's driving, I just let her just ramble. But it turned out to be this great series, and but it's all about feral cat colony caretakers and the work that they do, which is nobody appreciates enough. So that disparity in the money and you think of that, and so it's such an incredible subject. The amount of money that can go in one direction away from where it's really needed, it's a crazy thing. So, and you, Nona, the cinematographer on this. So, I asked you a little bit before we started recording. Any kind of any scenes that you felt more challenging that you said, no, this is where I'm going to make my statement as a cinematographer?
We had a lot of unexpected places to play around. I had no idea going into it that we would film a cat manicure. But when I saw that we had that on the schedule, I used an absolutely absurd filter, a star filter, and got these glamorous cat manicure shots. So I think we tried to have as much fun as we possibly could, and it's hard not to when you're filming cats. You could just get creative. So we tried to inject a little bit of that creativity wherever we went.
So, and when you got the script, you marked the script about how did you do like a storyboard and map it out how you wanted to see the sequence happen and some of the shots?
Yes and no. A lot of what we shot was verite, but we talked a lot about the Look Bible and films that have inspired us, and we were always pulling from other documentaries, from narrative films.
The Look Bible? Tell me what that.
So we created a visual deck that had our references. Todd was putting in a lot of documentary stuff. I come more from the narrative world, so I was pulling a lot of narrative things, music videos that we like, commercials that we like anything that we just love the aesthetic of. And we tried to push the visual part of the film in that direction as much as possible. But we had a lot of cool references, and I think we made a lot of them happen.
Well, I think in narrative you think of creating the look, and people don't think of that in documentary, but Nona definitely brought this when we do a 2-person sit-down interview, we're going to set up the cameras like this every single time. When we are out with the cats, it's going to be handheld, and we're going to use these type of lenses. So we tried to bring that kind of narrative aesthetic to a nonfiction film, so that you feel like you're watching a movie. We go to the movies to watch a movie, and we wanted you to really enjoy this one on multiple levels. So
the unappreciated collaboration between the cinematographer and the director, because you're using your creativity, you got your stuff in mind, and you're collaborating, and that's part of the wonderful part of the process is that collaboration. Are there places that you two were like, wait a minute, think of this and think of that, like really cooking and say, oh no, this will be really exciting to do it this way and that way?
Oh gosh, where would
if not all of the discussions?
Yeah.
One of our logistical challenges, we filmed with Curtis Sliwa. He was a mayoral candidate and also leader of the Guardian Angels. But he's quite a character. He lives in this 300 square foot apartment with about how many cats?
18.
Oh no, really?
Cats.
I know Curtis. I didn't know anything about the cats.
Yes.
He has 18 street cats.
Yeah. So 18 cats, 300 square feet.
Yeah.
And logistically, it's like, how do we get all of our cameras in there? How do we really stay true to the space? And I think we were racking our brains about it. And then when we got into the space, it all just kind of felt right. Just seeing all of the little eccentricities that he has in that space, like posters of himself and newspaper clippings. It was
also he had an LCD screen behind him of his own face with a cat. And it's like, well, that projects light. That we could fight this, or we could lean into.
We could lean into it, and we can really you couldn't have production designed the space better. It was just so honestly him.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think, part of what we learned, no matter how meticulous we were with that lookbook, when we got to the locations and when we met the people, we had to conform ourselves to what those spaces were giving us and what those people were giving us and what the cats were giving us.
So Curtis, we're totally loving hearing this about you and your cats. You've never told me this, so now I'm going to come back and see you, and I have to see you with your cats. But the logistical problems and the things that you have to take along the way, the 3 worst words you can say to anybody in the film industry, especially if you're on your way up, the 3 worst words you could say?
No, tell us.
The problem is, nobody wants to. The problem is, someone keeps coming back to me. I'm a location manager, I'm a set director, whoever I am. The problem is this and that. It's like, okay, next, you just want to come with, here's the solution. Hey, we found this, here's the challenge. here's how we overcome it. So the people who make it to the top never say, "Oh, the problem is." They always say, "Oh, I got something great. We had this thing that we had to work on, and this is what we did to work it out." And those are the people. So you did that in Curtis's house. You came up with the solution. It wasn't the problem. It's 18 cats in a very small apartment, which I can't imagine. I can't.
It smelled fine.
Did it?
It's incredible. I don't know how he does it, but
Yeah.
it was, you walked in, not 18 cats. You couldn't tell there was a single cat in there.
Yeah.
So,
Really?
and all his cats are lovely. The ones who wanted to meet us, they
Yeah.
were very friendly. They were walking all over during the interview. They were jumping on the camera.
Yeah.
Like, filming with cats is a trip.
I've been to a lot of different shelters and places where they'll have these rooms and it's just shelves where cats will find their way up in a hole like trophies. Did he have that in his place?
Oh, if you like cats on shelves, you're going to love this movie. We have a lot of cats on a lot of shelves.
Everybody likes cats on shelves. We've got the movie for you.
That's what we should name it.
But I love the premise, and I love the consciousness. We're all expanding our horizon of understanding quickly now. The rate of change and evolution is accelerating. So we're all becoming more aware faster. It's farther forward, faster, sooner. That's the way it is. So you guys are going to bring everyone farther forward, faster, sooner with this film. And do you have a distribution deal?
We have, if you're in Canada, you'll be able to watch it on television very soon. American, we're still looking. You know, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we'll find somebody, a partner, a cat lover out there will find us and get this message and this documentary out there.
Well, I think I might be able to help you with that. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay,
great. So sensitive one. Budget.
A budget was we paid the exact amount that it cost.
You know, and why pay a penny more?
No, I said
exactly what it cost. That's what they paid.
Yeah,
you know,
if it's going to cost more than the budget, is going to cost that amount. And
did you exceed the budget a lot that you originally planned?
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Did you do it within the budget?
I'm a director. How can I make? Does a director ever come in under budget?
Once or twice, yeah, a couple times. We love
that. Once or twice.
Yeah. But not without cutting a lot of scenes and that they had to put back in later. But no, so yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I totally understand that, and especially whatever situation you're getting into, you might have to do something that is going to need to accommodate a better creative process, which always costs a little more money. So, so I want to go back to the collaboration between the two of you. So you go through it and you talk about it beforehand, and then when you got on the set and you got to the location, you're stopping, you're talking to each other. You know, what I would love, I want to do a series of that moment when. Halt, everybody hold your places, and when the director comes to the cinematographer, it's like when the pitcher and when the catcher goes out and talks to the pitcher on the mound. It's like that moment when it's like, okay, now the director's going out and talking to the cinematographer, and the two of you are in this like kind of huddle, and then they go back and you'll say, what are they saying in there? So I would love to follow you around sometime and just get that moment, just record that moment of what they say when they're privately talking.
I can tell you what we said a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, it's usually what I say to Nona is, did you get a shot of the picture that they have on their mantle? Because usually the picture of someone that they have on their mantle says so much about who they were, and it was like, it would just be pointing out the, things that are normal for the people, but unusual for us as viewers.
Yeah.
So, no, that's wonderful. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that it's an animal advocacy activism doc, but it's also a comedy, and I think both he and I have very similar sense of humor. So a lot of those times it was like a bit of did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. I got that. Yeah. So I think because we're looking for these visual funny markers to it's a little bit of honey with your medicine. You want to enjoy watching a film that does have a tough message, and finding those funny moments was really what I think a lot of our on-set conversations were about. It's like, how do we make this feel bigger than life and just absurd to be a part of?
We're hearing the views of what seems like wonderful storytellers to make sure that you get the humor in things as well. Did you see this on the And we noticed your eye for detail, like these straps that are falling down.
Yeah,
Keep falling on your
great
head.
job.
Sorry, it fell back down on you. But that, I love that. So that eye for detail of the human element. Did you see that? And what you can tell by someone on their mantelpiece. I love that. Any more moments like that?
Oh gosh,
I'm putting you on the spot. I know.
Yeah.
I'm probably going way over on this interview, but I love what you're talking.
It's fun to talk. Let's see. I'm trying to think of. I mean, there was a cat named Nala, who has actually the Guinness Book of World Record for the most followers on Instagram of any cat. So we went to Nala's house, and Nala's house is filled with fan art. And so it's everything from Legos that people sent, portraits that they painted of her, photos that they blew up, sculptures of Nala. I never knew that this existed, let alone...
she makes 7 figures a year.
She's represented by UTA.
Okay. So whichever direction the world goes, we just love it. We love it. Whichever direction the world goes, we just love it. But also, when I'm going to send a present to someone with cats, I think Legos.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Let's send them some Legos. So
$7 million cat has high taste,
Oh God, $1 million cat. Well, so look, it's all things are actions to the advantage we perceive, and so that's great, and I love that. I can't wait to see your film, and I'm loving this conversation. One last question. So the technology, where my origin is television and the big cameras and the lights and the studios and what you needed for the distribution, and then into film when it was film and it's 35 millimeter and editing it and using Nagras and the editors. And the whole thing on the cutting room floor. Well, I'm using that. I'm using that at 4K, and I'm webcasting with everything. It took us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do when I was at 60 Minutes. So the technology part of it, and talking about the budget, is there some places that you are that in your history where you've made the changes in technology to shoot this differently?
Ooh, yeah, it's a tough question because I think that I always push for a certain cinematic caliber to the image, but a lot of times those cameras are not only built out to be much larger, but they also require a bigger crew, as you know, and as you get smaller, you have a smaller crew. So I think managing the size of the rig and our footprint in these spaces, because we didn't want to be super distracting to the cats, it was really tough. I think we had to weigh the pros and cons of we want to push it again more in a cinematic, what people would not maybe think of documentary as. I think sometimes documentary and film and cinema don't always
Can you believe how nerdy we are about a cat documentary though? We really love making movies.
I can tell. What's your next project?
Nona always says I have documentaries at home, meaning that I shouldn't start a new one, but I have 5 documentaries that I'm working on right now.
He was pitching me a brand new idea 30 seconds before he walked up. He was just I have an idea right now.
I think the one that is on the threshold of being is coming out sometime soon is Children's Demolition Derby. I followed Demolition Derby between 10 to 15-year-olds who go out there and destroy each other in full-size adult cars before
They're driving the vehicles.
They're driving the vehicles before they have their driver's license. So it's insane. It's an insight to a world that I think I've never seen, and I think most people have never seen. So it
sounds in zeitgeist with I've just seen 2 posts. I mean, real literally, last night on Instagram, where a kid drove his car through a group of kids in a park, and it's a picnic, and he drove the car, and it was all over the place. So that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
So we just saw that. So no, that's an interesting topic. It's an interesting topic.
It's really fun.
Listen,
I love watching him work on it.
I love talking to you two, and that's so much in common. Thanks for the insight about the technology too, and the shots. And congratulations and good luck to your film. I can't wait to see it.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to talk to Zelda. You're out here. You seeing this? Zelda Penzel, we love her. So anyway, good to meet you.
Thanks so much.